guys were unsure on this guy in the summer. You second guessed yourself. This is Ineos admitting their first mistake. And this is a very expensive mistake, guys. Mistakes are fine. Mistakes are fine. But also we have to look at this. We're cutting costs, guys. Yeah, they've come in and said we're going to be good at this, good at that. We're cutting costs. No more Sir Alex. No more 250 staff getting cut. All of this. Now, because you've made a bad decision, you've got to pay Eric Ten Hag £17 million.
I know.
You've put us back a little bit. Now I'm not trying to go in. I'm just looking at the other side of this thing.
I mean, you have to say though.
We're praising Ineos. We're praising Ineos, but they flirted with other managers before the FA Cup. They wanted to change him. They didn't. So they made a decision to back him, extend his contract, which now means we have to pay him £17 million. They gave him more money to spend. So now those players are here. And now we find ourselves at the start of a new they went past the international break. And we have to talk about that.
No, but then this is while they had to give Ten Hag a chance to see. No, they did. They had to. I know it's the wrong decision now.
I know it's the decision, KG. They did. Yeah, you're right about that. Like after what Flex said, they had to give him a chance. Now they didn't need to give him a chance in the summer. They should have flirted him after the FA Cup final.
But that's the mistake.
It looked like they wanted to. They looked like they wanted to do that. They got scared to do it. Then, as the results got worse, they hung on. Ten Hag shouldn't have been even able to play against Villa away. Porto away.
It's also availability. It's availability as well, Flex. Because they're saying with Amorim, his intention, and this is why it's a bit of a coup now, is because his intention wasn't to leave mid-season or this season in general. It was meant to be next summer he was going to go. That's where like the City link comes from with like kind of what Adam was mentioning. So maybe it is a case of them. In retrospect now, it makes more sense why they didn't make a move in the international break, the last one, because they were caught cold. They thought, we've given Eric Ten Hag an extra year. Maybe he's not the right guy, but next summer there's going to be more people available. There's a better pool of people available. We'll assess it then. So the start of the season's been the worst ever. Now they go, what are we going to do? They went, well, in the next couple of weeks, and it's no coincidence, suddenly all those reports started to come out going, they're talking to people again. They're talking to Xavi. They're talking to Thomas Frank. They're talking to Amorim was linked at that time. And clearly they were like, right, let's see who's available mid-season if we can get him now. And a bit like the Lenny Yoro situation where in the summer where it's like, that's not going to happen. The Amorim one, it's not going to happen until next summer. He's going to go to City. They're like, bet on it. We'll have a go. And suddenly they've got the go.
Can I just say something? No, on the Ineos thing, though, we don't. The one thing is for sure that one we don't know, and then the other thing is they wanted to give this manager Ten Hag the chance to try and rectify, to say, because they said but when they didn't have them as a structure, it's almost he wasn't given a fair crack of the whip in Ineos's eyes. They said, "Well, we're
other managers though," so that suggests
let me land it. In the sense of they've seen that there was a moment, there was a jump in the FA Cup final. And said maybe this guy could actually work. You know what? We're gonna put pieces around him to see how good it works. Now they didn't give him the job to see if hoping is gonna fail, but then they quickly started to realize as the games were going on, he was failing, and they wasn't ready for this international break. Remember, Tuchel's already been that's kind of already off the table. But Man United, as Alice was saying, this conversation didn't start today. The conversation has started a while ago. We were just unaware because it's very quiet. Like when they started talking to Euro, they started talking to Euro time ago. When Rio Ferdinand was tweeting, Euro, please come to Man United, he's already been on the phone to him. It was almost like a piss take. He's almost laughing in our faces because they're already on the phone negotiating Euro to the club. So we don't know what's going on. They tried to back the manager and they waited. We didn't think he was right in the other international break. They couldn't do it. You think all of a sudden they're going to do the deal just now and he's ready to join with immediate effect.
But it hasn't worked though. But we can say that they made a decision that didn't work. So this is their first L. They made a decision to back the manager, spend the money and wait. And then in return, we finished 14th, spent 200 extra million and waited till November. So that we can say they got that wrong. Fair play, they put their hands up and changed it.
If they could have got Amorim in the summer, do you think that they would have done that? Because I think it goes back to they were worried about people that they couldn't get in the summer.
But they're able to get him now. But
that's what I mean.
So it means it's a shit decision then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is a sense that are we now basically sort of saying that actually, if there was a good manager in the summer, they would have probably gone in a separate direction.
Yeah,
and not stuck with Eric.
No, they
Well,
wouldn't.
yeah,
They wouldn't.
That's what I think. I do think that. Yeah.
Can I
agree.
get what KG's comment? KG. When you look at it, you said they thought that structure would help him, man. You know, though, that structure hasn't helped him. You know what I mean? So we kind of knew in the summer a structure wasn't helping this manager become a better manager. So that is sheer craziness level of incompetence to believe that structure would become a better manager for Ten Hag. It wasn't going to happen. And B, like, even the injury situation, we found out through injuries that nothing was going to change. And everything now has literally been proved. Proof's in the pudding, KG. Your comment is null and void. We're talking
with hindsight. Right now, we have hindsight that's telling us, okay, they wanted to give him the best opportunity to do well, and they gave him that with the money the funds that they gave him in the summer. They said, okay, listen.
I personally, you know what? On
everyone
that,
knew this guy was failing. Everyone knew one game wasn't going to change that in the FA Cup. It wasn't.
With that, actually, with the money that's spent, can we actually say that these are all? Let's just say the structure is in place. These are some of them. I think are structural signings. Look at the ages of the players that we bought. We bought no one higher than what Mazraoui. He was cheap, 26, oldest player. These are players that every single manager in the future can work with. Ineos weren't necessarily backing Ten Hag. Yeah, he could make the most of him if he wanted to, but these are players that Amorim will use. These are players that can play ball. I don't think anybody's got a problem with the likes of Mazraoui. No one's got, well, we've not seen Yoro and Agate yet. I don't think they're Ten Hag signings. I think that's been proven with the amount of time he's played Agate right now. I think they are working their way in. And let's not forget, like you said, Flex, their first mistake, they're only just through the door. I mean, you yourself were convinced outside Wembley after that FA Cup final. It's like, maybe we do have to give him a go. There was a lot of that being pushed.
I agree with that. But the bit where we say we're fans, this is the bit where when KG, remember when you were saying the other day, listen, I hope they don't listen to the fans. So if we've got strong leadership who say they're ruthless and they've listened to the fans at the first bit because they were trying to get each and every one manager, now it's transpired like this. We're allowed to say, okay, they chose that. That was wrong. That was wrong. That's their first error. And now we move forward. We can say that.
They've rectified a mistake. They've rectified. The best thing about it
but it's cost us 17 million plus the 8 million to do it. When if they did it in the summer. So now Man United is in a worse financial position for doing that when we're trying. We can't afford to send people on the plane. And now we've got to pay Eric Ten Hag 17 million.
And time proves you're right and wrong with everything, isn't it? Like we were saying, you know, even as recently as a few days ago, there are people like, you'll see, Ten Hag will turn it around. They were wrong.
Can I ask a question? Yeah, it's a deep question. Had we drew the game yesterday, you reckon they would have sacked him?
Yeah.
Alice, what do you think?
What do you think?
Yeah, Alice, that's one.
Do you know what? I think, because I think this Amorim stuff going on, they've been talking to Amorim for a little bit. And I think, you know, if he'd won, they probably wouldn't have sacked him because the timing wouldn't have been right. But I think they've maybe got to a point because David Ornstein doesn't just do an Amorim bomber a few hours after Ten Hag sacked. They've not done that in the last few hours. I think they've got a bit of confidence that they were going to get Amorim in a couple of days ago, maybe, and they thought we've lost. Because let's be honest, that wasn't a sackable loss. We've had so many sackable losses this season.
What about win, Alice? Because we could have won against West Ham. We were bottom.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, there's so many games like Tottenham where that's a sackable performance. There's about 90% of our losses have been on Ten Hag this season, and the one that I wouldn't have put on Ten Hag has got him sacked. And I think that is because Ineos knew there was something going on with Amorim and they had enough confidence to sack him. I think they didn't want to sack him until they were confident of their contingency plan. And I think they thought, we've lost. Well, we know we can get Amorim now. This is probably the time to sack him. Maybe if he wins, they continue on going. But I think if he draws, they say he's dropped points, we'll get Amorim in. But I think they've probably been planning to sack him since Tottenham, maybe, but just waiting around.
I think it was that Spurs game, personally. Like, the only thing I've agreed with Gary Neville on this whole Ten Hag saga was what he said earlier on today, that Spurs game was probably the trigger for them to start planning what they've done now. I think that was the one, because that was like Ali said, that was the sackable. That was a disgrace. And the fact that Ten Hag tried to cancel it off, that was the nail in the coffin that they needed. And I think they would have I agree. I think they would have done it no matter what. I think this has just been building up to it, and they've had it in the plans behind the scenes.
Yeah, loads of super chats for